The polls are open. Votes are being cast in the New York primary elections. There are several key races to keep an eye on, and it will also be a test of the power of Mayor Mamdani's endorsement. Joining me now to break it all down is Madison Fernandez, a reporter for Politico. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the Mamdani factor. He's been pushing hard for several candidates facing either incumbents or more established Democrats. What will this election tell us about his influence?
The mayor has a lot of political capital on the line here. I mean, he's only a couple of months into his term, and I think he's really showing that the way that he came into office last year, sort of riding the sentiment among voters who are frustrated with the establishment, that's going to continue. I mean, he really wants to have allies in Washington, and you could see that with his picks here. And it's also important to note that he's very popular in these districts where he's endorsed challengers. He's endorsed 3. So, I don't think that Mamdani endorsement necessarily means that they're going to win, but it has definitely brought them a lot of attention, and it's definitely highlighted these races.
The mayor hasn't endorsed a candidate in New York 12, the district in Manhattan with 8 candidates running. Why do you think that might be?
So he's actually the newest, one of the newest residents in the district because Gracie Mansion is located there. And he said he has voted. He hasn't shared who he's voted for. But that race is there's a lot of different factors going on there. You have Jack Schlossberg, who's a member of the Kennedy family, and you have state assembly members Michael Lasher and Alex Borres, both of whom have received a lot of outside spending. So there's a lot. It's a very it's not a clear-cut race as to who might prevail.
Heading outside of the city, the 17th district in the northern suburbs, the winner of that race will take on Congressman Mike Lawler. What kind of candidate do you think could give him a true challenge come November?
This is going to be one of the most competitive races in the country come November. So I think whichever Democrat wins, you'll see Democrats coalesce around them enthusiastically because they want to flip the seat to regain control of the House. But you have 3 main candidates at this point. That's Army veteran Kate Conley and Effie Phillips Staley and Beth Davidson, both of whom are local elected officials. And in the final days of the campaign, we've seen an outside group come in to attack Kate Conley. And Democrats say that actually is a Republican doing. So I think that goes to show who Republicans might not want to face off against come November.
And we have seen very low turnout in early voting so far, about 173,000 votes cast. Why do you think that is, and what's the impact on the race today?
I try not to read too much into early voting numbers. There's a lot of different factors. And of course, this is a midterm election, and there's been a lot going on, the Knicks celebration, the World Cup. So I think that, and with the weather today, who knows what voting turnout is going to look like. But again, with midterm elections, it's always a bit of a gamble of what it's going to look like.
CBS News New York will continue to follow it. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us this morning. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you throughout up until Election Day. And on our website, you can find the latest on voter turnout, key races and results as they come in. CBSNewYork.com.